Now, Ghana is ranked second behind Cote d'Ivoire in Africa in terms of growth of mobile money services. That's according to the 2023 Oxford Economics Africa's report titled the Africa Risk Reward Index. The report is coming despite the existence of the electronic transfer levy. Here's more in this report.
According to the report, the value of mobile money transactions in Ghana and Senegal are well above 100% in relation to the size of the economies. In terms of mobile money accounts per 1,000 adults, the country placed second behind Cote d'Ivoire. With regard to mobile money agents per 1,000 adults, Ghana was ranked second. Senegal placed first in this regard. The report stated that there seems to be an inverse relationship between the maturity of a country's financial sector and the uptake of mobile money services, an indicative of the need and desire to leapfrog traditional financial infrastructure. Total mobile money transactions in the country in the first 8 months of 2023 hit a record 1.190 trillion cedis. According to the Bank of Ghana, active mobile money accounts as of August this year stood at 21.6 million, whilst active agents stood at 556,000. The 2023 Oxford Economics Africa's report examined the profits of pitfalls of polarization in each African country, African-led security interventions, and how African countries are financing for the future.
I'm joined on Zoom by a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. Doc, thank you so much for your time. Is this surprising to you, and what does this mean to the Ghanaian economy?
Thank you very much. It's not surprising because if you look at the trend of mobile financial services, and you look at the history from Kenya, M-Pesa, all the way to Ghana and across especially sub-Saharan African countries, you can clearly see that there was going to be a huge growth in the usage of mobile financial services. The reason is simple. See, if you look at sub-Saharan Africa, and if you take out South Africa, realize that infrastructure-wise, this region of the world is lacking. Now, when it comes to financial services, the traditional mode of financial services has been brick and mortar, where a bank must establish a branch, and then from that branch, provide banking service or financial services, including even the microfinance institutions. Now they're coming into being of mobile phone and the uptake in mobile phone usage, and mobile phone becoming the tool for payment now in the form of mobile money, etc. Then all that one needs is just the network connection and that particular infrastructure to support the transfer and the usage of mobile phones or mobile money as a means of payment. In that regard, you don't need that huge infrastructure, the brick and mortar infrastructure, to effect payment across regions or across countries. So if you look at Ghana in particular, our banks are very choosy when it comes to where they will site their branches. But when it comes to mobile money and its infrastructure, all you need is an umbrella, a desk, and a table, and a chair. Okay. And that is enough for you to either receive deposits or to effect payment by way of mobile money. And this one is a low-cost means of providing that or this particular financial services. Hence, it can be done anywhere. It can be done anywhere and by anybody in the country. No wonder the uptake has been that huge, and the success story is what we are seeing currently in Ghana, and then not only in Ghana, across many African countries.
Doc, as a country, do you think that we have taken advantage of the significant growth in mobile money services?
Absolutely, we have taken advantage, and we are still taking advantage of it. In fact, The easiest one you can look at is the convenience to effect payment. That is one. Two, you can also look at the employment that this particular innovative service is providing all of us, even our family members. You can also talk about recently the E-levy that the country is raking from mobile money, mobile financial services. It is not as was expected, but it is better than none. So if you look at the fact that mobile money or mobile financial services is providing employment, merchants who are now being employed through mobile money. If you are talking about it helping us to conveniently send and receive money, if you are talking about E-levy, and the fact that many corporate entities are also using mobile financial services to effect payment, then clearly it is a good thing to have and we are benefiting. But there is a lot more that we can benefit going forward. And as the technology evolves and develops, I believe strongly that Ghana will be prepared to tap into the benefits that mobile financial services offers to any economy that embraces the technology.
Will you suggest that we refine the E-levy in order to rope in more revenue, or you think otherwise?
That's a conversation that we must, keep having from time to time. But before we will think of a reduction in the E-levy, a proper audit of the system must be conducted. And we must also come to address or to accept the fact that it is appearing that the E-levy is more of a retail level tax that have to be paid and not the corporate entities, because the corporate entities will always have the opportunity to make a claim for whatever expense they have incurred by way of E-levy when they file their tax returns. But at the individual level, like you and I, we don't have the opportunity to keep a record of whatever transaction we made by way of E-levy and how much you have paid by way of E-levy to make a tax refund for. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the skill set to do that. But the corporate entities have that. And the corporate entities are the same group of entities that transact heavily in terms of the E-levy, the amount. So realize that we are going to see huge transactions by way of Momo, but it will not easily translate into the E-levy because the corporate bodies will always have the benefit of making a claim for whatever tax they have paid by way of E-levy as a cost input in their production process. But the individuals will not be able to do that. And that is how come we are having huge values of mobile money transactions, but it's not really translating to E-levy. What we need to look at is to first audit the system. Once we audit the system, we'll get closer to know what is happening in the E-levy architecture. Then we can make a case as to whether we should keep the rate or to reduce the rate. But if you look at how much we need as a country in terms of revenue, it will be very unwise for the government to abolish or cancel the E-levy.
Finally, before I let you go, Doc, is mobile money the new face of banking? And how do banks benefit significantly from it rather than the telcos?
Okay, so this is how I'll answer it. There's no way mobile financial services will take over the roles of banks. Banks will still be banks, and we will need banks to grow our economies and to manage our finances. So it is just a product that has been added onto the existing products that banks used to provide. The only thing is that this time around, the originator of the product happens to be the telcos. But the telcos themselves are not financial institutions. They are not licensed to be receiving deposits and be creating loans out of the deposits. The telcos are not set up to do that. The banks are set up. If you look at the infrastructure to move monies around, the banks have the infrastructure better than the telcos. The only advantage of the telcos is that they have the technology and they have the reach. So the telcos provide the reach to those who have been cut out in terms of providing means of receiving and for effective payment. And then also for those who are underbanked. So that is where the telcos have the advantage. It's about partnership. So long as the banks can partner the telcos, it's a win-win situation for all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Benjamin Amoah. He's a finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And that's